Hello everyone, so I am here again before you with my second video in relation to specific performance of contract under Specific Relief Act. We have already dealt with section 9, 10 and 11 of Specific Act, and today we are here to deal with section 12 and 13 of this particular act. Before moving to section 12, I would like to tell you that please subscribe and like my videos and hit the bell icon so that you can get notified whenever I upload any video on the YouTube channel. Section 12 is dealing with specific performance of part of contract. General rule which has been laid down by this particular section is court will never direct specific performance of any part of contract generally. So either the court will allow specific performance of whole of the contract or will deny the same. But the section itself is providing us two exceptional situations where even a part of contract can be specifically performed and not the whole. Even though the other part has become impossible to perform, yet part of contract can be specifically performed. If we talk about exception 1 of this particular section, it is talking about a situation where one party has become incapable of performing his part of contract, and such part which is now impossible to perform is a small proportion of whole of the contract in value, and such defaulting party is even ready to pay compensation to the other party. Then in that particular case the court may award for specific performance of contract as far as practicable. So as much as the contract can be specifically enforced, the court can allow the specific performance of such part, plus compensation can also be awarded for same. Please remember, for exception 1, either party to the contract can file a suit for specific performance, be it the defaulting party, be it the aggrieved party. If we talk about exception 2 of this particular section, it is talking about again one party is unable to perform his part of contract, and such part is either making the major portion of the contract, and here the party is ready to pay the compensation, and second situation is where the party is not ready to pay the compensation. In that particular situation, the section states that specific performance can be awarded of that particular part which can be enforced. So the court will award specific performance of as much part which can be easily performed, and compensation can also be awarded in such situation. One point of distinction between exception 1 and 2 which is to be remembered is that exception 1 can be availed by filing a suit by either of the party, but to avail the benefit of exception 2, it is only the aggrieved party which can bring a suit in the court of law. So defaulting party is not entitled to obtain a decree for specific performance. It's only the aggrieved party which can file the suit for the same. There are certain conditions which are mentioned under section 12 itself for availing the benefit of exception 2. Number 1, the aggrieved party pays or has already paid consideration for the minor part of the contract. Major part has become unable to be performed by the party concerned, but the minor part has been performed and the aggrieved party has paid consideration for the same. Secondly, the aggrieved party has already paid or agrees to pay consideration for whole of the contract without any reduction. So the whole value of the contract has been paid by the aggrieved party. In this particular situation, to avail the benefit of exception 2, one condition is also there that party seeking the specific performance. So the particular party has to relinquish, has to give away all the claims and rights which it could have claimed regarding that particular contract for the part which left unperformed by the defendant concerned. If we talk about further, the section is talking about under section 12 clause 4, where a part of contract can be specifically performed independently and separately from the other part of the contract. So there is single contract only, but the part which can be specifically performed stands on a different and independent footing than on the other part of the contract. Then the section states that such part which stands on different and separate independent footing and can be specifically performed should be specifically performed, and other part of the contract may or may not be specifically enforced. So the part which can be performed should be performed, and the other can be or may not be performed specifically. Further, an explanation has been appended to this particular section where they are giving us one instance where the party becomes unable to perform the contract. So they are saying that so if a portion of subject matter of the contract ceases to exist on the very day or date of performance of contract, then for the purposes of this particular section, the party would be deemed to be unable to perform. So this was all about this particular section. There are certain landmark judgments also in this relation. First is 1995 Supreme Court. In this particular case, Supreme Court held that court should take initiative or should try to grant part performance of contract rather than to declare whole contract void. So although there is a general principle of not allowing part performances, still here the court held that a court should take initiative, court should try to grant part performance of contract wherever possible rather than declaring whole contract void. Apart from that, Surinder Singh versus Kapoor Singh, 2005 Supreme Court, and Balkar Singh versus Mohabbat Singh, 2004 Punjab and Haryana High Court. Both the cases are the situations where only part of contract was allowed to be specifically performed. If I talk about Surinder Singh's case, in this case, the defendant agreed to transfer his own property as well as of her sister's property as well. When the sister came to know about it, sister refused to sell her part of property. The court held that only the part of the property which belonged to defendant himself can be specifically performed. So only his property, his part of property can be sold to Surinder Singh. Apart from that, another case, Balkar Singh versus Mohabbat Singh, was dealing with right or power of guardian or parent to transfer property of minor, and the court held that the guardian or parent can only transfer or deal with the property of minor with prior permission of the court. So in this case, the court held that even the father of the child cannot sell or transfer his property without the permission of the court concerned. But in this particular case, only that part of contract which was dealing with the property of father was specifically enforced in the favor of Balkar Singh. Apart from that, if we talk about section 13 of this particular act, it is dealing with rights of purchaser or lessee against person with no title or imperfect title. So we are talking about a situation where a particular person sells or lets a movable property or movable as well, but he does not have a perfect title or rather no title at all in that particular property concern. So first of all, section is talking about a person who contracts to sell or let certain immovable property without perfect title. So the purchaser or lessee has got certain rights under this particular section, which he can exercise in relation to the person, the vendor or lessor who has sold such property without title or with imperfect title. First right is where the purchaser or lessor can compel the vendor or lessor to make good the contract after entering into the contract. First right is talking about a situation where after entering in the contract with purchaser or lessor, subsequently vendor or lessor gets a right or interest in the property which is the subject matter of contract. Earlier he didn't have that particular right or interest, so here the purchaser or lessor can now compel him to make good the contract. That is, now he has to transfer his interest which he has acquired subsequently to the purchaser or lessee. Second right is that the purchaser or lessee, as the case may be, can even compel the vendor or lessor to procure concurrence or conveyance necessary for validating the title. There can be a situation where validation of title depends upon the permission or consent of any other person. So here, if a particular purchaser or lessee comes to know that vendor or lessor didn't get that particular conveyance or concurrence from the required person or authorized person. Here, they can compel the vendor or lessor, as the case may be, to procure such concurrence or conveyance for validating their title in the property. Thirdly, if the property is a burdened property, the purchaser can even compel the vendor to redeem such burden, to redeem such mortgage and free property from any such burden. So he sold a particular property which was burdensome with some charge or mortgage or anything else above it. Any kind of debt can be there. The purchaser can now later on compel the vendor to release such burden and free the property from any such burden. Apart from that, section is also talking about defendant's right to compel vendor or lessor to return his deposit or interest, where vendor or lessor had sued for specific performance of contract and suit was dismissed for want of title or imperfect title. So here the vendor or lessor didn't have proper title or had imperfect title. Still, they sued the defendant in the court for specific performance of the contract relating to such property, and court dismissed such suit. In that particular situation, the defendant of that particular suit gets the right to ask for his deposit and interest, whatever is applicable on the same, from the vendor or concerned. Lastly, the section is also talking about a general rule, that is, all the provisions of this particular section 13 would also be applied in relation to contracts for sale or hire of movable property. So where sale or hire of immovable or movable property is concerned, same rights would be available to purchaser or lessee where the property has been sold to them without title or with imperfect title. So this was all about the second part of specific performance of contract. I would be next dealing with section 14, 15 and 16 of the same. I hope you liked the video and I was able to answer your questions and queries. If you have any doubts or suggestions, please comment in the comment section. Please subscribe, like my channel and hit the bell icon so that you can get updated as soon as I upload any video. Thank you.